The armored man looked at Lai Yunzi and gradually began to laugh. His laughter grew louder and louder, and as it echoed through the grand hall, the celestial fire essence within surged and whirled violently. The entire hall quaked with the surging energy. Arcs of lightning crackled within it, releasing resounding booms. Lai Yunzi's heart trembled. He stood up and took several steps back, staring intently at the armored man. In a deep voice, he said, "Sacred Emperor, what do you mean by this? If it's about that Wang Lin." He hadn't even finished his sentence before being abruptly cut off. "Wang Lin. They say he's your genuine Thunder Immortal of Luotian. So tell me, is it you who wants him, or is it the Thunder Immortal Palace?" The armored man said slowly. Lai Yunzi frowned and replied in a grave tone. Although he once held the title of genuine Thunder Immortal of Luotian, he was long since stripped of it. This time, he glanced at the armored man before continuing. "This time, while it's true that I want him, it is also the will of the Thunder Immortal Palace." The armored man looked at Lai Yunzi. The smile on his face tugged against his armor as he spoke slowly. "Oh? And what sort of grudge does this Wang Lin have with you and Luotian?" A deep unease stirred in Lai Yunzi's heart. After a moment of silence, he answered, "Wang Lin has a complex history with our Luotian Thunder Immortal Palace. Too much to explain in detail. But as for me personally, he took a precious treasure of my Zhan family. I must reclaim it. So that's how it is. Then your pursuit of Wang Lin is understandable." The armored man nodded. However, the four elders beside him wore increasingly strange expressions, but said nothing. "I hope the Sacred Emperor will permit it. After all, both Luotian and the Four Saints sect share a common enemy, the Cultivation Alliance." Lai Yunzi exhaled slightly and clasped his hands respectfully. Though he was known for his arrogance, he dared not provoke the Four Saints sect. Despite its decline, the depth of its heritage was something even Luotian had to tread carefully around. "But you said Wang Lin stole a treasure from your Zhan family. Funny, I don't recall hearing about this." The armored man's sudden question caught Lai Yunzi off guard. Before he could even begin to respond, the armored man stood up, lifted his right hand, and swept it across the helmet on his face. A cold, chilling voice followed immediately. "You want Wang Lin? Lai Yunzi, look closely. Do you see who I am?" In that instant, the helmet covering the man's face dissolved into ripples that spread outward, revealing none other than Wang Lin. "You, Wang Lin." Even with Lai Yunzi's composure, he couldn't stop himself from gasping. His eyes filled with shock to the extreme, and in utter disbelief, he stumbled several steps back. "No, impossible. You can't be the Vermilion Sacred Emperor. That's absolutely impossible." Lai Yunzi's breathing quickened, his pupils contracted. He couldn't accept what he was seeing. In his eyes, Wang Lin was a mere ant, an insect he could have crushed without a second thought back then. Now, this stark contrast had completely shattered his understanding. He stared blankly at Wang Lin, disbelief surging in his eyes, but even more so, terror and sheer astonishment. "How dare you? Even if you represent the Luotian Thunder Immortal Palace, you're in no place to question the Sacred Emperor of our Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect." One of the four elders beside Wang Lin stepped forward, his tone cold and sharp. As he took that step, a surge of shattered nirvana aura erupted and turned into an invisible shockwave that roared toward Lai Yunzi. Still reeling in shock, Lai Yunzi was struck before he could react. He immediately coughed up blood and stumbled back again, his face pale. And yet, he had no choice but to accept the horrifying reality before him. "You, Lai Yunzi, are you here on behalf of Luotian to offer congratulations on my ascension as Sacred Emperor? Or did you come simply to humiliate me? To think you demand this Sacred Emperor's surrender within the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect? This is nothing short of outrageous." Wang Lin's expression darkened, and his voice was as chilling as a wind from the deepest abyss. "This is no different than if I were to send someone to your Luotian to demand the surrender of Yen Lazy from the Thunder Immortal Palace. Lai Yunzi, if you can't provide a satisfactory explanation today, you will not leave this place alive. And tomorrow, Luotian will pay the price." This isn't slander from this emperor. Fellow Taoist Mo Zhi from Cloudrise Nation can bear witness. Wang Lin gave Lai Yunzi no chance to argue. His words were like a thunderbolt. Lai Yunzi, still overwhelmed, coughed up another mouthful of blood. Just as he was about to speak, Mo Zhi spoke in a firm tone. I can vouch for this. Lai Yunzi was indeed unreasonable. He tried to demand the sacred emperor right here in the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect. My words represent Cloudrise Nation. The seductive woman from the Corpse-Ean sect blinked her enchanting eyes and chuckled softly. Since I happened to witness this as well, I can also testify. Senior Lai Yunzi's actions were utterly absurd. Lai Yunzi choked on his breath once more. Hearing both Mo Zhi and the woman from the Corpse-Ean sect, he spat blood again and snapped his head up to glare at Wang Lin. Wang Lin sneered coldly, sitting back down. He raised his right hand, as if examining the fine details of his own fingerprints, completely disregarding Lai Yunzi. This was the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect, and Lai Yunzi could never escape from his grasp. Had the man not made that absurd request, Wang Lin would not have felt the need to teach him a lesson. But now it was different. Not only Wang Lin, but even the four elders beside him exuded coldness in their gazes as they stared at Lai Yunzi. The surroundings were completely quiet, and Mo Zhi occasionally glanced at Wang Lin, his eyes filled with emotion. He had never expected that the old friend his master spoke of would turn out to be Wang Lin. He recalled the first time they met on the Vermilion Bird Star, in the ancient temple on that rainy night. At that time, Wang Lin had just attained the conceptual realm and was in the process of spirit transformation. Though they were strangers then, that night's discussion of the Tao left an indelible impression on Mo Zhi. Beside him, the seductive woman from the Corpse-Ean sect did not speak either. She gave a half-smile, looking at Lai Yunzi, clearly enjoying the spectacle. In the silence, sweat began to form on Lai Yunzi's forehead. He was well aware that with his cultivation level, there was no way he could escape the Four Sacred Sect, especially since Wang Lin was so ruthless. He had even mentioned the Luo Tian Thunder Immortal Palace. This was no longer a personal matter. It had now become a matter involving the entire Luo Tian Thunder Immortal Palace, an insult to the sacred emperor of the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect. This went against everything Luo Tian had ever intended. This was a reckless act on my part, but it is a personal matter, unrelated to Luo Tian. After a long pause, Lai Yunzi said bitterly, despite feeling immense resentment. He had no choice but to clasp his hands and salute to Wang Lin. The rage in his heart was enough to scorch the heavens. The sense of humiliation gnawed at his soul. He remembered the days when Wang Lin had to show him respect and heed his every glance, for if not, Lai Yunzi could have destroyed him at any moment. Even during their last meeting, Wang Lin had been forced to be extremely cautious, coming to serve him and inspect the battle character scrolls whenever summoned. Wang Lin was someone who could not afford to refuse. Lai Yunzi knew this well. In his eyes, Wang Lin was meant to be suppressed and controlled, constantly at his beck and call to examine the battle character scrolls. Had it not been for Qing Shui, Wang Lin would have long been his puppet. But now, Lai Yunzi was forced to lower his head in humiliation, explaining away his previous words in disgrace. How could he bear this? But if he did not endure, he would surely die within the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect. The mere 4 words, insulting the sacred emperor, were enough to trap him in the Four Sacred Sect's grasp. Wang Lin, however, appeared to have not heard Lai Yunzi's words at all. He continued to examine his right hand. Lai Yunzi's temples bulged as he suppressed the fury within him. The presence of the 4 shattered Nirvana elders by Wang Lin's side only heightened his unease. After a moment of silence, he finally forced out a trace of respect and clasped his hands again, saying, I hope the sacred emperor will not take offense. This was indeed my rashness, with no intention of insulting. Rashness? I had previously asked you if this was your decision, or if it was the will of Luo Tian. I still remember your answer. Do you not recall what matters I brought up regarding the Luo Tian Thunder Immortal Palace? Wang Lin slowly spoke as he continued to observe his right hand. You. Lai Yunzi looked up, his anger barely suppressed. He dared not explode with fury at this moment. If not for the woman from the Corpse-Ean sect and Mo Zhi being present, he could have fought to the death. Though he would have perished, his sacrifice for Luo Tian would have been avenged by Luo Tian. But now, his opponent had seized on his earlier words, and with witnesses present, even Luo Tian would be unwilling to engage in a war with the Four Sacred Sect and the cultivation alliance over his reckless actions. Especially since Wang Lin's gaze had grown increasingly sinister, Lai Yunzi was certain that if he could not control his rage, he would be killed on the spot. Sacred Emperor, this matter was my fault. Lai Yunzi clenched his fist, trembling with emotion. He had never experienced such humiliation in his lifetime of cultivation. I want all of your battle character scrolls from the Zhan family. Bring them to me, and this matter will be over. You have half an incense stick's worth of time to consider, Wang Lin said, lowering his right hand and fixing his gaze on Lai Yunzi, speaking each word deliberately. After finishing, he waved his hand, and immediately, a trace of fire essence energy condensed in front of him, forming into a tangible incense stick floating in midair. As the incense began to burn, time slowly passed. Lai Yunzi struggled inwardly. Watching the incense almost burn out, he felt the mounting pressure. His face twisted in bitterness, and he reluctantly nodded. With a wave of his hand, a crack appeared in the air in front of him. 3 scrolls flew out, and a heavy aura of battle intent suddenly emanated from the scrolls, spreading throughout the surroundings. Wang Lin's eyes flashed. With a motion of his right hand, he grabbed at the empty air, and immediately, the 3 scrolls flew into his grasp. His divine sense swept over them, and with his familiarity with the battle calligraphy, he immediately distinguished the true from the false. You've already taken the battle calligraphy. Can I leave now? Lai Yunzi looked at Wang Lin, personally handing over the treasure of the Zhan family. It was something almost impossible for him to accept, but at this moment, if he didn't give it up, Wang Lin would surely take it. There was no other choice. If it had been anyone else who was the Sacred Emperor, Lai Yunzi would have been confident that, even if he offended them, the other party wouldn't dare to kill him. At most, he'd be imprisoned. After all, behind him was Luo Tian. And in this alliance star domain, the mystery of Luo Tian would give him some leverage. After all, there were too few people who truly understood Luo Tian, just as Luo Tian didn't understand the alliance. But Wang Lin was different. He was far too familiar with Luo Tian, even having once been a genuine Thunder Immortal. In Wang Lin's eyes, Luo Tian's mystery had greatly diminished. That wasn't the worst of it. More importantly, Lai Yunzi understood that Wang Lin was ruthless, daring, and decisive. He would never hesitate or waste time. If Wang Lin truly had a killing intent, he wouldn't imprison him to give him a chance for revenge. Instead, he would act decisively, and Lai Yunzi would have no chance of survival. Given this, he had no choice but to yield. Though his heart bled, he had to hand over the battle calligraphy. After putting the scroll away, Wang Lin's gaze flickered, and he spoke slowly. You may let go of the matter where you insulted my sacred emperor status, but now, I have one private matter I'd like to ask Senior Lai Yunzi. Lai Yunzi's heart skipped a beat, and he glared at Wang Lin. Grinding his teeth, he said, You've already taken the battle calligraphy, and I've already paid the price for what happened earlier. What more do you want? Wang Lin remained calm, replying indifferently. You said earlier that I took your Zhan family's priceless treasure. Could it be that you can predict the future? I'd like you to give me an explanation for that. Wang Lin's gaze was fixed on Lai Yunzi. He had a mind to kill him, but if he did, the Four Saints sect would turn hostile with Luo Tian. This didn't align with Wang Lin's plans for dealing with Tua Senator. More importantly, if the Four Saints sect and Luo Tian became enemies, the real beneficiaries would be the Corpse Yin sect and the Alliance. It was very likely that Qing Shui was with the Alliance, and he owed a debt of gratitude to the old Sacred Emperor. With all these factors in play, Wang Lin couldn't afford to kill Lai Yunzi just yet. What do you want? Lai Yunzi, suppressing his rage, asked in a deep voice. 10 Luofu blood orbs. Wang Lin spoke slowly. You. The sound of his internal energy rumbling could be heard from Lai Yunzi's body. Clearly, he was furious to the extreme. His body trembled, and after several attempts to calm himself, he finally suppressed his anger. Taking a deep breath, he spoke through gritted teeth. Last time, I gave you 6 Luofu blood orbs. Any more, and that's all I can bear. Wang Lin smiled slightly and nodded. 6 is fine, but I also want the jade slip that controls them. Lai Yunzi closed his eyes. With a motion of his right hand, he grabbed at the air, and 6 Luofu blood orbs, pulsating with a thick blood aura, floated out of the crack, followed by a jade slip. Wang Lin flicked his sleeve, and the 6 Luofu blood orbs were immediately put into his storage pouch. He then pinched the jade slip, glanced at it, and stored it as well. I'll take my leave now. Lai Yunzi turned to leave. He couldn't stay in the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect any longer. Senior Lai Yunzi, please wait. I have a parting gift for you to deliver to Senior Yen Lazy. Wang Lin waved his hand, and immediately, a jade slip flew out and landed in Lai Yunzi's hand. Lai Yunzi frowned, scanning the jade slip with his divine sense. His expression changed instantly. He suddenly raised his head, and his eyes shone with intense light. This matter. If Senior Yen Lazy is interested, he may come to the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect to find me, Wang Lin said with a slight smile, not saying any more. Lai Yunzi carefully put the jade slip away and looked at Wang Lin. The more he observed this man, the less he could understand him. With a sigh in his heart, he turned and swiftly left. Maijian family's ancestral treasure must not fall into the hands of outsiders. Wang Lin, one day, I will retrieve it. If I don't kill you then, I won't be Lai Yunzi. Lai Yunzi rushed out of the cultivation star, turning into a streak of light that shot through the star domain. But Wang Lin's jade slip is an earth-shattering matter. It must be delivered to Senior Yen Lazy as soon as possible. If this is true, it's terrifying. Lai Yunzi thought to himself, his speed increasing. Every moment he spent within the Four Saints sect felt humiliating. With a wave of his hand, Lai Yunzi grabbed a black stone from a crack in space. As he rubbed it in his hand, it turned to dust, which quickly condensed into a long line surrounding his body. In an instant, Lai Yunzi's speed surged by several times, and in a flash, he vanished without a trace. Several days later, Lai Yunzi, with his remarkable speed, finally exited the eastern region of the Alliance star domain, leaving the 4 great sacred sects behind. He headed straight for the northern part of the Alliance controlled by Luo Tian. However, on the second day after entering the northern region, as he was advancing rapidly, a sudden flash of cold light appeared from the distance. The speed of the light was so fast, it seemed to shake the heavens and earth, and it came crashing toward Lai Yunzi. Lai Yunzi's face changed dramatically. He was about to dodge, but with his cultivation level, he couldn't escape this cold light. In the blink of an eye, the light closed in and pierced through his chest with a thunderous roar. Lai Yunzi didn't even have time to summon any divine abilities or magical treasures. Blood spurted from his mouth, and his physical body immediately collapsed. His essence spirit, shocked and horrified, fled rapidly. But as the cold light approached again, seemingly relentless and merciless, in a moment of panic, Lai Yunzi reached out with his right hand and immediately summoned a Tinjong-sized blood sphere in front of him. It was the Luofu blood orb. The moment the orb appeared, Lai Yunzi let out a furious shout. Explode. The orb exploded with a deafening roar, releasing a shockwave to counter the incoming cold light. Taking this opportunity, Lai Yunzi didn't hesitate to expend his essence spirit energy and fled rapidly. However, within his essence spirit, a thin red thread, centered around his chest, quickly spread out, reaching his body's surroundings. A strange smile, neither a smile nor a sneer, appeared on his face, but fear flickered in his eyes. Poison. This is the ecstasy and death poison of the corpse insect. With Luo Tian's vast knowledge and numerous intelligence sources, the corpse insect's tactics had been thoroughly investigated. As a great cultivator of Luo Tian, Lai Yunzi instantly recognized that he had been poisoned by the corpse insect. In a state of panic, Lai Yunzi fled desperately. After Lai Yunzi had fled far away, a figure appeared in the starry sky. The man, dressed in blue and handsome in appearance, glanced in the direction Lai Yunzi had escaped, and shook his head, turning to leave. The poison extracted from Situnan's body was used to ambush the younger generation. As for this matter, forget it. After all, my wife and I owe Wang Lin a great deal. The man sighed and vanished into the stars. Back in the rear hall of the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect, after the corpse insect's alluring woman presented her gift and expressed her intention to form an alliance with the 4 great sacred sects, she was about to leave. But Wang Lin stopped her, inviting her to participate in the upcoming coronation ceremony. Taoistly, the corpse insect has always been companions with the dead. There must be a ranking of the world's extraordinary corpses. Do you know what the best physical body in this world is? Just as the alluring woman was about to leave, Wang Lin suddenly asked. The enchanting woman, with her beautiful eyes glancing at him, seemed quite intrigued by the new sacred emperor. The scene where he had just intimidated Lai Yunzi made her gaze toward Wang Lin even more different, almost as if she were tempted. She bit her lips slightly and smiled softly. What the sacred emperor asks, I must answer in detail. As for the world's extraordinary corpses, the number one ranked corpse is naturally the reverse 5 elements extraordinary corpse. As she spoke, a hint of charm appeared on her face, and she continued to explain. This reverse 5 elements extraordinary corpse is not a real corpse, but one born in special conditions between heaven and earth. Its body forms its own 5 elements, and even the 5 elements shift externally, creating a strange change in rules. Wang Lin nodded after hearing this. I see. I thought the news I recently obtained about a corpse was the world's number one. I wanted Taoist Li to appraise it for me, but now it seems unnecessary. The alluring woman's eyes flashed, and she smiled softly. Oh? What kind of corpse could make the sacred emperor so confident? Without further hesitation, Wang Lin flicked his sleeve and tossed a jade slip toward the woman. She caught it with a smile, not paying it much attention. In her mind, no matter how rare the corpse Wang Lin had discovered, the corpsine sect would surely have it. Even the rare reverse 5 elements corpse was present in their sect. Moreover, the ranking of the reverse 5 elements corpse was merely for external talk. In the corpsine sect's collection, there were 7 corpses that surpassed it. Casually scanning the jade slip with her divine sense, the woman's right hand holding the slip trembled, and her expression instantly became serious. But immediately, that seriousness crumbled and was replaced with shock and horror. Her hand nearly lost grip of the jade slip, which she clutched tightly. Her face turned an unusual shade of red, and her breathing quickened. She took several steps back and didn't recover for a long time. It was not that her willpower was insufficient, but rather that what she saw within the jade slip rendered any willpower she had futile. Not only her, but anyone from the corpsine sect, even the sect master, if they were to see this jade slip, would lose their sanity. This. She suddenly raised her head and stared at Wang Lin, her words disjointed. The excitement and shock in her heart were beyond words, as if countless heavenly thunders had exploded within her mind at that very moment. Wang Lin remained unfazed, accepting the tea brought to him by his clansmen, taking a small sip, and then gazing at the enchanting woman. How does this corpse rank? She asked, her mind still unsettled by the image she had seen in the jade slip, her heart racing. Oh, Wang Lin glanced at her, blowing on the tea to cool it, before calmly replying. In that case, it's of no concern. I had no great expectations for this corpse. Knowing or not knowing doesn't really matter. The woman's expression changed, and she immediately said, might the jade slip just given to Lai Yunzi also be this object? Indeed. Wang Lin casually took another sip of his tea. The enchanting woman fell into deep thought for a long while. She then raised her head to look at Wang Lin, her expression revealing a hint of respect as she spoke. This matter is beyond my judgment. I ask that the sacred emperor give me 7 days. Within those 7 days, I will provide a response. Wang Lin smiled lightly, setting down his teacup. Friendly, there's no need to rush. This corpse was discovered by me unintentionally, but I was unable to retrieve it, so I asked you to help identify it. The woman, clever as she was, calmed herself. She had already realized that Wang Lin's offer of the jade slip was no simple matter and certainly carried profound meaning. Moreover, Wang Lin had apparently prepared the jade slip in advance, first sending it to Lai Yunzi, then to her. After a moment's consideration, she carefully said, it seems I won't be able to attend the sacred emperor's coronation ceremony. I shall take my leave first. Wang Lin did not try to stop her, allowing Li Yingji to leave the hall. In a flash, she became a streak of light, racing away. As her figure vanished from the grand hall, Wang Lin's expression remained calm. His bait had been cast. Now, it was up to Luo Tian and the corpsine sect to see if they would bite. They will definitely be tempted. Wang Lin turned to look at Mo Zhi, a smile gradually spreading across his face. He stood up, and his armor, along with his cloak, vanished instantly. Now, dressed in white, he clasped his fist towards Mo Zhi, smiling. Mo, it's been years, yet your elegance remains unchanged. Mo Zhi rose and clasped his fist in return, his expression tinged with nostalgia. I think it's been nearly 1,000 years. Wang Lin's eyes also shimmered with reminiscence as he sighed deeply. Mo, our reunion today is indeed a fateful one. We must discuss cultivation once more. I still remember the insights I gained on that rainy night. They remain etched in my heart. Mo Zhi nodded with a smile. The two of them walked out of the hall, one after the other. On the main star of the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect, the place where Wang Lin had been meditating for several days near the volcano, the void twisted, and Wang Lin stepped out. Mo Zhi followed closely behind. They sat by the edge of the volcano, watching the black smoke rising from the crater. Wang Lin tapped his storage pouch, and 2 bottles of wine appeared. He tossed one to Mo Zhi and took a sip from his own bottle, sighing deeply. The rain comes from the heavens and ends on the earth. The flow in between is life. This saying, I still remember clearly, Wang Lin said. Mo Zhi took the bottle and sat down beside Wang Lin. Hearing these words, a touch of nostalgia appeared on his face as well. He smiled and said, Back then, I was a member of the Cultivation Alliance, and under my master's special orders, I was assigned to station on Vermilion Bird Star. One rainy night, I had an epiphany while walking outside, and unexpectedly met you, Wang. Wang Lin shook his head. Sometimes, understanding is immediate, and sometimes, no matter how hard you ponder, there's always a thin layer of glass that you cannot break through, and you won't have an epiphany. After our second meeting in the Vermilion Bird Tomb, I wanted to make you the ruler of Vermilion Bird Star, but I underestimated your ambition. Mo Zhi continued sincerely, taking another sip from the wine bottle. Now, seeing you as the sacred emperor of the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect in this third meeting, I am truly happy. The two of them drank and reminisced, and the 1,000 years of memories seemed to fly by as they laughed and spoke. Slowly, it was as though they had returned to that rainy night in the ancient temple. Your understanding of life and death is now complete, Wang. The changes in your realm, however, are beyond my comprehension. But my master once said that all realms in this world are connected to the heart. What stirs the heart often brings changes in the realm. Perhaps this advice may be helpful to you, Mo Zhi said as they discussed cultivation. As time passed, the morning came, and Mo Zhi stood to leave. He didn't stay to attend Wang Lin's coronation ceremony. Instead, he left with the 4 jade slips Wang Lin had given him and the matters Wang Lin had entrusted to him, disappearing into the distance. The events recorded in these 4 jade slips are enough to shock the entire Alliance star domain. Mo Zhi must quickly deliver them to his master and send them to the other 3 Alliance factions. As for their Cloudrise Nation, under Wang Lin's subtle hints, Mo Zhi has already gained some understanding and made some guesses, so he naturally wouldn't involve his master. After sending off Mo Zhi, in the following days, people gradually came to congratulate, but Wang Lin no longer personally met with anyone. Time passed quickly, and the day of the coronation ceremony arrived. On this day, the entire Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect was filled with excitement, with elders and clan members from the other 3 sacred sects arriving to witness the coronation of the new sacred emperor. Though the ceremony was complicated, it was traditional, and after a full day, it was finally completed. Members of the other 3 sects gradually took their leave, and the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect slowly returned to its usual tranquility. Many of the clan members focused on their cultivation, while the elders became aware of the matter concerning the rescue of the Azure Dragon Sacred Emperor. They chose to retreat into seclusion to maintain their peak cultivation. After all, the matter of rescuing the Azure Dragon Sacred Emperor was of utmost importance. At this moment, Wang Lin's figure appeared on the edge of the Burning Star domain where the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect was located. In front of him, a primordial spirit was floating. The primordial spirit appeared as a middle-aged man. He looked at Wang Lin with a kind and satisfied expression. You've done well. In these remaining years of my life, although you may not be the most gifted clan member I've encountered, you are the one I am most satisfied with. I entrust the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect to you. I feel at ease. Wang Lin remained silent, not speaking. Unfortunately, my time is running out. If I had a few more decades, I would be confident in ensuring your complete inheritance, but alas. The middle-aged man shook his head, sighed lightly, and continued, I am going to the Alliance headquarters. I fear I may never return. But that Rain Realm Immortal Crystal, I will acquire it, no matter the cost. At this moment, I will split off 90% of my primordial spirit and go to absorb the fragments of my past avatars. The remaining 10% of my primordial spirit will remain with my physical body. After acquiring the Immortal Crystal, I will use the primordial spirit secret art to transfer the Rain Realm Immortal Crystal to my physical body. As for the Azure Dragon Sacred Emperor, save him if you can. If it's too difficult, prioritize your own safety. The middle-aged man seemed to be making arrangements for the future, speaking slowly. My physical body has the White Fire Stone, which will prevent decay for 3,000 years. Within it is the fire essence I've cultivated throughout my life. Every 100 years, you must cultivate at my physical body's location and absorb the primordial energy inside. It will greatly benefit your cultivation, remember this. However, if you face a life or death crisis, do not worry about my soul. Use the 9 mystic transformations to detonate my physical body and help you or the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect overcome the crisis. The middle-aged man looked around at the burning star domain and gazed at the distant Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect on the immortal cultivation stars. His expression was filled with sorrow and reluctance. Wang Lin, I am leaving. I will also look into the whereabouts of your senior brother Qing Shui for you. His gaze turned even more affectionate as he raised his right hand and placed it on Wang Lin's forehead, speaking softly. I leave this fragmented situation in your hands. Do not resent me. He looked deeply at Wang Lin, turned, and began walking toward the distance. His figure floated away, carrying the carefree aura released after countless years of pressure, slowly advancing forward. I am Lu Yun, born in the ancient Qi refining era. I served as a medicine attendant beside the 4th generation Sacred Emperor since childhood. Grateful for the 4th generation Sacred Emperor's guidance, I learned the Qi refining technique from him. At the age of 1372, I made some progress in Qi refining and followed the Sacred Emperor. I witnessed the glory of the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect. At 2,945 years old, I became an elder of the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect. At 4,760 years old, I became one of the Grand Elders of the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect, having survived the first decay of heaven and man. At 6,215 years old, I was granted the Vermilion Bird Mark, and after awakening it for the first time, I defeated other awakened ones, becoming the first. At 7,912 years old, with the help of the 4th generation Sacred Emperor, the Vermilion Bird underwent its second awakening. From that moment, I was appointed as the Vermilion Bird Sect's heir by the Sacred Emperor. At 11,463 years old, the Rune clan arrived from the outer realm and disrupted the world. Our Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect helped the Immortal Realm to fight against the Runes. After this battle, the 4th generation Sacred Emperor, along with the other 3 Sacred Emperors, disappeared into the outer realm, never to return. Before leaving, the Sacred Emperor appointed me as the 5th generation Sacred Emperor. And now, I have just survived the second decay of heaven and man with the help of the Sacred Emperor. It was at this time that I learned a shocking secret about the 4 sacred sects. The 4 sacred sects were not originally from this sealed realm, but came to this realm long before. At the same time, I also learned that the first generation of Sacred Emperors and clan members of the 4 sacred sects, including the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect, first appeared in a small cultivation star in the ancient immortal domain, before the 4 great immortal realms were divided. This cultivation star, to be precise, is the origin of the Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect and the other 3 sects, and the pathway to our homeland. This star has always been under the control of my Vermilion Bird Sacred Sect. The other 3 sects have no objections, as few know about this matter. To prevent any future issues, this has been the deepest secret within the 4 sacred sects since the time of the 1st generation Sacred Emperor. Even Immortal Emperor Qinglin knows nothing of it. Moreover, when the 4 sacred emperors took control of the Kungsu star domain, They created many similar stars to confuse anyone trying to find the original star. In the midst of the confusion, almost no one could identify which one was the original. On top of that, the first-generation four sacred emperors implemented hidden techniques that ensured the star would never be fully discovered. For thousands of years, the immortal realm experienced strange occurrences. In that instant, all beings in the world were confused, as if they had been cut off from all sensory perception and plunged into chaos. 3 months later, when they regained consciousness, the immortal realm had already collapsed. The newly appointed Azure Dragon Sacred Emperor, ignoring my warnings, insisted on going to the immortal realm to investigate, but never returned. Hundreds of years passed, and due to the collapse of the immortal realm, chaos broke out in the Xun'er realm. An organization named the Cultivation Alliance emerged, with its influence subtly tied to the Xun'er realm. This Cultivation Alliance, by some unknown means, obtained the majority of the inheritance from the Rain realm. I originally intended to search for the whereabouts of the Azure Dragon Sacred Emperor, but the third heavenly decay arrived far earlier than expected. During my seclusion, the Cultivation Alliance launched an attack on the four sacred sects. The Black Tortoise Sacred Emperor betrayed us. Though I severely wounded him, I was unable to kill him during my third decay. The White Tiger Sacred Emperor died in battle, and even his corpse was taken by someone. It's laughable that the Cultivation Alliance, despite suffering heavy losses, has no idea what the true cause of the war was. They continue to believe it was over the control of the Xun'er star domain. What they don't know is that the real reason for the war wasn't about seeking dominance, but rather because the Xun'er realm had somehow caused the Black Tortoise Sacred Emperor's betrayal, revealing the secret of the four sacred sects. However, while the Xun'er realm knew the secret, they could not discover the exact location of the cultivation star. The vastness of the Xun'er star domain made it impossible to find a single cultivation star. Additionally, the first-generation four sacred emperors had altered the star so much that there were no clues left. According to the agreement among the first-generation four sacred emperors, only the Vermilion bird's sacred emperor's successors were qualified to know the exact location. Thus, the war between the Alliance and the four sacred sects began. In the midst of the crisis, I resorted to the ancient sacred artifacts as a threat, but even with my efforts alone, I was still unable to protect the secret. The fate of all four sacred sect members was at stake. Eventually, I revealed the location of the star. The Xun'er realm, wary of the sacred artifacts, couldn't distinguish truth from falsehood because of the complexity of the matters I shared. The war gradually came to an end, and I, along with the four sacred sects, went into deep hiding. But because my injuries were so severe, I couldn't bear to die. If I did, the four sacred sects would immediately fall apart, and I still hadn't found a successor to pass the secret on to. I survived through divine abilities, enduring the unbearable third decay pain for countless millennia, until now. It's almost time for me to finally be free. The middle-aged man's figure slowly faded, but his voice lingered in Wang Lin's mind, not fading away. Wang Lin, remember what I'm about to say? This is the deepest secret of the four sacred sects. I don't know why the first-generation sacred emperor valued it so highly, but I believe there must be something crucial behind it. Keep this in your heart and pass it on. All of us in the four sacred sects came from that original star. You can think of it as a gate. This gate was split into 4 parts by the first-generation 4 sacred emperors and hidden in 4 different cultivation stars, scattered across different locations. Later, when the ancient immortal domain disappeared and the 4 great immortal realms split, these 4 positions ended up in different immortal realm star domains. I only told the Xun'er realm about one of the positions, which is where you were born, Vermilion Bird Star. I'm not sure if the other 3 positions have changed, nor do I know what they're called now. But remember these 3 star maps. As the middle-aged man's divine sense transmitted these words, 3 ancient star maps immediately appeared in Wang Lin's mind. At this moment, Wang Lin was deeply shocked. He never expected that the 4 sacred sects held such a secret, nor did he imagine that Vermilion Bird Star, where he was from, was the key to the conflict between Xun'er, the Alliance, and the 4 sacred sects all those years ago. No wonder one of the old sacred emperor's incarnations has always existed on Vermilion Bird Star. No wonder Mo Zhi's master sent him to Vermilion Bird Star. It seems his master is no ordinary person, and perhaps sensed something from somewhere. No wonder Lu Mei also appeared on Vermilion Bird Star, and the Rune clan. They too are on Vermilion Bird Star. As for the matter of Huang Long being a split body of the old sacred emperor, Wang Lin had gradually come to know it over the past 3 years. The middle-aged man had finished explaining everything. As he was about to leave, he suddenly paused, turned back to glance at Wang Lin from afar, and with a kind smile on his face, he softly spoke. If the pressure becomes too great, if the Four Saints sect has no chance of glory, if this world truly seeks to destroy our Four Saints sect, then do not force yourself. With that final sentence, the middle-aged man took a step, and his figure vanished. Only the figure of Wang Lin remained, standing alone in the starry sky, lost in a daze. What he had just heard had almost robbed him of his ability to think, his mind shaking. It took him a long time to regain his composure. Meanwhile, in the western part of the alliance occupied by Luo Tian, outside the enormous floating palace of the Thunder Immortal Palace in the starry sky, a long rainbow shot across the sky. Within this rainbow was a figure, an essence spirit. This essence spirit was nearly transparent, with many red threads spreading within it, creating an astonishing appearance. The face of this essence spirit carried a strange smile, as if it were enjoying the sensation of life and death, yet its eyes exuded an intense fear and confusion. Yen Lazy, save me. As soon as it neared the Thunder Immortal Palace, the essence spirit immediately let out a sharp, piercing cry. The sound instantly transformed into a series of sonic booms that reverberated through the starry sky. In an instant, figures flickered outside the palace. At the front, a figure stepped out from the sea of flames. It was an elderly man with white hair, Yen Lazy of the Thunder Immortal Palace. With a single step, he appeared beside the essence spirit. His expression was extremely solemn as his right hand formed a seal and reached out, instantly grabbing the essence spirit. His left hand quickly tapped several times on the essence spirit. Each tap sent a powerful flow of heaven and earth energy into the essence spirit's body. The red threads inside the essence spirit shrank, but no matter how much pressure Yen Lazy applied, they would not be forced out of the essence spirit's body. As the heaven and earth energy surged, Yen Lazy's mind grew clearer, and he hastily spoke. I was ambushed by people from the Corpsine sect when I was returning. Before he could finish, the red threads inside his body began to struggle again, causing Yen Lazy to falter. A faint, eerie smile appeared on his face, and his eyes grew cloudy. Although he did not finish his sentence, his words were clearly heard by the elders outside the Thunder Immortal Palace. Their expressions immediately darkened. Corpsine sect. Yen Lazy furrowed his brow. He pressed his right hand firmly onto the essence spirit's forehead, and immediately the essence spirit shuddered, regaining its senses. Yen Lazy, explain clearly. Why did the Corpsine sect ambush you? Yen Lazy commanded in a low voice. The Vermilion Bird Sacred Emperor, it's Wang Lin. He gave me a jade slip to deliver to you. On my way back, I was ambushed and poisoned with the ecstasy and death poison. Yen Lazy's mind began to distort as the poison took effect. Although his cultivation was above Situ Nan's from back then, he had not reached the shattered nirvana stage and no longer had a physical body. His talent also paled in comparison to Situ Nan's extraordinary abilities, so he could not suppress the poison. Due to these factors, the poison inside Yen Lazy's body was especially potent. As he spoke, his right hand reached out, grasping at the air, and a crack appeared before him, from which a jade slip flew out. After completing these actions, he could no longer bear the strange effects of the poison. His entire body released a burst of essence spirit energy, and he fell into unconsciousness. Yen Lazy grabbed the jade slip with one hand, focused intently on it, and as he did, his expression changed drastically. His eyes blazed with overwhelming brilliance. This message. Yen Lazy was struck as if by lightning, standing rooted to the spot. Subconsciously, he scanned it again with his divine sense, confirming it. The elders around him all turned their eyes toward him. Yen Lazy flicked his hand, and the jade slip flew to an elder beside him. The elder's expression grew grim, and after scanning it with his divine sense, his face turned pale with shock. Before long, nearly all the elders present had read the contents. Each of them underwent a drastic change in expression, whether this is true or not. One of the elders spoke slowly after a moment of silence. If such a person is allowed to escape, the entire Alliance Star domain will undoubtedly fall into disaster. This matter may not concern us directly, but if the images left in the Jade Slip are true, then Luo Tian will lose all the stars we control in this domain. We will have to retreat and reinforce our defenses. If that person enters Luo Tian, the elder trembled, his eyes filled with terror. This matter is mostly false. It's impossible for such a person to exist in this world. Just look at the contents and images of that Jade Slip. If a shattered Nirvana cultivator is merely pointed at by them, they would either die or be severely injured. It's utterly absurd. Among the crowd, differing opinions emerged, and an elder coldly snorted. Do you all remember the lunar beast? Yin Lazy suddenly spoke up. The elders were momentarily stunned, as if pondering something. However, there's no need to worry too much about this. After all, just as Yin Lazy was about to finish his sentence, he suddenly paused, his expression turning extremely respectful, as if he were listening to a certain sound. Yin Lazy's strange behavior did not surprise the surrounding elders. Instead, one by one, they also began to show respect. Moments later, Yin Lazy's expression changed again as he cupped his hands toward the west, respectfully stating, "As you command." He turned around, his gaze becoming grave as he scanned the people around him and said sternly, "Cease all combat with the Alliance, and summon all cultivators above glimpse of Nirvana. Await my orders after I return from the Four Saints sect." A similar scene was unfolding in the Corpsine sect. However, compared to Luo Tian, the Jade Slip brought back by Li Yingji sent the entire Corpsine sect into a frenzy.